This is Van X here. It is day 73 of the Iran war. This is the AM briefing, May 11th, 2026. Be sure to like this video. It helps with the algorithm and helps me expand. And for now, all I have is my robot assistant, Fred, who I designed myself. He has kind of a deep voice. I kind of like it. Here we go. Take it away, Fred.
Day 73 of the US-Iran war, and President Trump has just torched Tehran's peace counter-offer. Trump on Truth Social. I have just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. Hours earlier, Trump fired off a second blast. Iran has been playing games with the United States and the rest of the world for 47 years. They will be laughing no longer. Washington's 14-point proposal demanded Iran agree to zero uranium enrichment for at least 12 years and hand over its 440-kilogram stockpile of 60% enriched uranium to the IAEA. Tehran's counter: compensation for war damages, sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, release of frozen assets. Sanctions lifted, an end to fighting in Lebanon, and not one word on the nuclear program. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Esmaeil Baghaei admitted it openly. Our 14-point plan exclusively focuses on ending the war and contains no issues related to the nuclear domain. Trump's red line is nuclear. Tehran's red line is not negotiating it. That's not a deal, that's a deadlock. The U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports hit day 29 today, costing the regime an estimated $500 million per day per CENTCOM figures. U.S. fighter jets struck two Iran-linked tankers Friday trying to run the blockade, smokestacks blown out, vessels forced back to port. A confidential CIA analysis leaked to the Washington Post says Iran can withstand the blockade for another 3 to 4 months before severe economic hardship sets in. Brent crude is sitting near $101 per barrel. WTI is $97.69. American drivers are paying $4.52 a gallon at the pump per hour. Energy Secretary Chris Wright is floating a suspension of the federal gas tax to ease the pressure. Drone incidents lit up the UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait this weekend, 3 Gulf states reporting strikes within hours of each other. A bulk carrier was hit 23 nautical miles off Dubai. The April 8th ceasefire is hanging by a thread. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went on CBS and called for Israel to wean itself completely off U.S. military funding, driving the $3.8 billion annual aid figure to zero, and warned the war with Iran is not over. Nuclear material is still inside Iran. Enrichment sites are still standing. Proxies and ballistic missile production lines are still running. Trump heads to China this week to meet Xi Jinping, and the Iran war will dominate the summit. The U.S. Treasury just sanctioned 10 individuals and companies, including several in China and Hong Kong, for supplying Iran's Shahed drone program. U.S. Ambassador Matt Whitaker hammered the message on Fox: President Trump holds all the cards, and will hold them, until he gets a deal for the American people. Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf is now demanding the blockade lift, before any full ceasefire, a complete non-starter for the White House. Bottom line, no enrichment, no deal. Trump is not blinking, the Navy is not leaving the Gulf, and the regime is bleeding $500 million a day, while Khamenei's successor Mojtaba runs out of room. What hit harder today? Trump calling Iran's offer totally unacceptable, or Netanyahu telling CBS he wants U.S. military aid to Israel cut to zero? Drop it in the comments. Want to wake up and be completely driven for Goal State and Flow State? Download No Mercy on Google Play. It's an Android alarm app that keeps you committed to success. No Mercy allows you to set goals and get persistent reminders until you achieve it. I'm Van X, creator of No Mercy. MAGA only, and never socialism.
Okay, this is Van X here, and the key takes of this video and research for the AM briefing on May 11, 2026, day 73 of the Iran war, is here's the timeline according to the CIA. End of the war, 3 to 4 months left. Okay, now basically what you have is an Iranian army that has been decimated. They don't have much left. I believe they have some submarines, some attack boats, and they have a lot of drones. I'm not sure how many drones they have. I haven't done an update on how many drones and other artillery weapons that they have, and so forth. They have a broken chain of command. They don't really have a leadership. They have what are called mullahs. Okay, they just kind of prop up people into power. And there's some people working behind the scenes, of course, but they do not have an orchestrated leadership. But they're not giving up. They're not giving up, and they're trying to close down the Straits of Hormuz, which causes Brent crude, which is the oil that a percentage of Europe uses, but not the entire portion of Europe uses, and China uses, okay? And other global people rely on this fuel a lot more than the United States, which has plenty of oil, WTI. But since this is a global thing, supply and demand, a global world, we have a petrodollar, okay? Oil is the way it's marketed, and it seems like a scam. It seems like a scam to me, but this is how it works. It's affecting the price of everything, so everyone is hurting. But China is hurting more than the United States. Iran is hurting more than the United States, much more than anyone. And they're not going to make it to the end of the year. It's basically 3 to 4 months left. But they're not giving up. And Trump has some comments to say about that it's totally unacceptable. Okay? I have Truth Social. I have just read the response from Iran, so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. Okay? Hours later, Trump fired off a second blast about Iran. Iran has been playing games with the United States and the rest of the world for 47 years. That's true. Now, if you look at Iran's history, they've done all kinds of terroristic events, not just against Israel, but also against the United States. I can't name them all offhand. Just by thinking about it, I can't name the dates and events and all that stuff. But Iran, throughout decades after decades, they've committed crimes against the world, not just Israel, against the United States and other people, including their own people. And they funded 13 terrorist organizations, which they've upheld, to harass Israel. And neighbors as well. They fired on their own neighbors. Okay, so Trump also continued to say they will be laughing no longer. Okay, so Washington's proposal demanded Iran to agree to the zero uranium enrichment for at least 12 years and hand over its stockpile. Okay, so I think this is actually a reasonable deal. They have expressed interest to fund terrorism, and since they fund terrorism, they shouldn't have nuclear weapons. That's just a scary door deal for everyone. Now, because a lot of fuel goes through the Straits of Hormuz, and they know that, they could play a little chess game there and use attack boats and other ways to try to restrict passage of the Brent crude oil to go through that area, which is hard to defend, to stop them from terrorizing. Okay, it takes a lot of effort for the United States. The United States strategy is to try to wear them down, seemingly. Okay, now Trump, okay, no enrichment of uranium, no deal. Okay, so they have to give up the idea of enriching uranium, because if they get that, then they can make nuclear bombs in the future. Okay, they need to be a more stabilized civilization before they can get that. Trump holds all the cards as regime bleeds $500 million a day. So that's how much they're losing. China is also losing. They have a bad ally, as does Russia. Okay, and they are hurting because of this as well. Okay, a lot of people say differently, but there's no doubt about it. This is costing everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on the U.S. perspective, experiencing the aspect of inflation, which is inflation is going up because of U.S. gas is now on average $4.52 a gallon. That is hurting everyone. Okay. All right. So you're listening to Van X. Please like, subscribe, and share, and download my app, No Mercy for Android. It's a game changer. It changed my own life. I built it for myself to help me set goals, and it's just an amazing app. Take care.